So here is what we have so far, which was from last week. We had laid out this painting. We started with that nice black line across the skyline. We've got that cloud above. And we had started with this sketch right here, you see? And so now we're going to be working on this piece right here. So for me, I'm going to get a little closer here so we can see some of the brushwork. See how we scrumbled into that black line last time? We got some foreground here. Now for me, right here, see, I like a composition to have a balance to it. Right now we basically have three lines. You have the cloud, the mountain, and then you have this rounded sort of line here. For me, I like a composition to come up and almost bring all your eye right around in an arc all the way around so that you can feel the motion of a composition coming right around. So I'm going to add in some trees coming straight up out of here. And then I'm going to add a dead stump sort of coming down through here. And then we're going to start brightening up the sky. We're going to richen up some of that red, and we might even work with that black some more. So what I've done is this time we're going to use paints out of the tube with my liquid that I've got mixed here, which is basically my medium, which is linseed oil, Damar varnish, and turpentine mixed in equal parts. And it just helps the paints to flow a little bit easier. So I've got, starting with this color right here, we've got yellow ochre, Mars yellow, raw sienna. Down here we have magnesium ferrite. This is Terra Rosa, very similar to Indian red. I found a tube of it, so I'm just going to use some of that up. Phthalo green, alizarin crimson, and also we have phthalo blue. And back up here we have some burnt umber. So a lot of times what I like to do is go ahead and we're going to start playing here. Why don't we throw those trees in how we want them to go? And they're going to be very simple trees. To make our black today, I'm just going to take some burnt umber here, just like that. And we're going to run it in with some phthalo green. Do you see how that gets really nice and rich? We could be using Mars black right now, but I really like to make my own black up because when you mix it, I'll throw some alizarin crimson in there. When you mix it with white, you don't get a charcoal black. You don't get a charcoal gray. You get a really nice, rich gray. So we're going to add a little more medium to that until we get our brush pretty well full. Now we're going to come up here and we're going to add some trees in right here. Starting, let's see, I want them to kind of, I don't know if I want to come up into the sky, so maybe we'll start right here. We're just going to bring our line straight down. And for now, I think we're just going to do it like, oh, I almost fell down. We're just going to do some really simple tree line here, right? Just like that. Now do you see how the composition, it changed the composition a little bit there, didn't it? Which I like to do. So we're just gonna grab some more paint here. And then we're gonna come back up. We're just gonna kind of fill in that black a little bit more here. I'm just using my brush to kind of push that paint up into there. And then over here in this other corner, we had talked about putting in sort of like maybe a dead piece of wood here. So let's bring our angle down. And we're going to create sort of like a nice dead tree, like a fallen tree kind of thing here. I put the cutoff at this end here, kind of like that. And so this is going to give us something to play with later. Just adding to the foreground. Now I'm just going to run this black into here a little bit here. Like that. So, and then in the sky, so I'm just going to take this black brush and I'm going to mostly just grab some burnt umber right here. And we're going to darken that cloud a little bit more here. And we're going to just darken it. Sorry, I got it too close here. Darken it along here. Trying to hold my phone and film. I don't have my assistant. He's on strike. this week. So basically, let's step back so we can kind of see what we're doing here. We're just adding a little bit more to this composition to give it some more life, some more fun things to look at here. So in the sky, see, I just kind of went over that gray with this dark color here, and we're gonna use that color later to play with, okay? So why don't we jump into that sky a little bit? So I'm gonna grab some blue here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get some more of the thinner out of here. We're gonna do a Bob Ross thing. Just gonna tap the thinner out. We're gonna grab a little bit of this medium. I'm gonna grab some of that phthalo blue, and we're gonna pull some white into it. And for me, see that blue? It's a really pretty blue, but I wanna grab some of this burnt umber and just temper that blue, just so it's not so blazing blue here. And it's gonna come out a little bit almost like a teal, like a muddy teal color. I didn't get all the thinner out of my brush, so I'm just gonna try to mix that together a little bit so it doesn't mess us up later. I'm just gonna work that paint right into the bristles there. Now coming up here, we're gonna go and we're gonna follow the line of this cloud here. Really carefully, careful not to hit the top of that mountain. And I'm just gonna do that for now. And then I'm gonna take, and we're gonna pull that away from that cloud a little bit. Hear my brush tapping against the panel. It's because I don't paint on canvas. I actually hate working on canvas. I get my panels built. I used to build them myself, but then my carpenter friend can build them much easier for me. So I'm just gonna take that light blue color that we've kind of created, and I'm just kind of dragging it down towards that darker gray that we had used last week. And I'm just gonna make sure we have a nice established line there. Now let's stand back and look at what we've got here so far. We've got that new tree, the new tree form there that we're liking. We've got that dead tree there on the ground. And we've started to kind of play with the sky a little bit more, haven't we? Now, I'm not really loving this really sharp line, so I might just play with that a little bit more and grab a third brush, and we're gonna kind of just blend that a little bit more so we have more of a cloud feel to it. So let's grab another brush here. Let's see, I got a few brushes that are just pulled out of the thinner, so I'm gonna get as much of the paint thinner out as we can. We're gonna come in here to the white like this. We're gonna kind of fill it with some of that white like that. And then for this, I might just grab a little raw sienna here. Do that, a little burnt umber, and a little bit of that black, so we can kind of get halfway between the sky color and the cloud color. And I'm gonna keep it really dry just so we can blend now. So here, I'm gonna just kind of run this down along that edge a little bit. Almost create almost like a rain effect. Like that, okay? We come back up into there. I might just leave that for now. And then I'm just taking that lighter blue and I'm just gonna kind of muddy it a little bit, even more than we already have. See, I've got these brush strokes coming down last time, and I'm taking my brush and I'm going across them to kind of just build more texture. And you can kind of hear the bristles scratching against the panel a little bit, because that's what we're doing. I've got my brush almost flat. If you look at the side here, my brush is almost flat to the panel. I'm not coming in at an angle like this. I've got my hand here and I'm just kind of allowing the brush to really just rub right on that a little bit, like that. I'm gonna follow that line right across here, like that. And then we'll step back, we'll take a look at that. It's looking pretty good for now. Now, I wanna run some white along this mountain here, and then I wanna highlight some white in here. So why don't we get a brush out, And we're gonna run some pretty much straight white for a minute. So this brush is pretty much full of thinner. So we're just gonna kind of make sure we can get as much of that thinner out. I'm just gonna keep coming out of there. All right, so let's grab some white that's pretty well dry. I accidentally grabbed some blue in there, but it'll be all right. So first, I really want the mountain to pop out with white. So let's just go into this mountain right here, and we're gonna drag this real nice and dry. Drag it across what we've already done last week. And now that we've got that, I'm gonna pull it down across there a little bit. I really like to work with the white dry. It's got a great feel to it. Then we're gonna go across here. See how my brush is really flat to the panel here. And then we're just gonna follow that line. I'm gonna tap right into that black there a little bit. Kind of soften it. These things that you do when you're painting, they have to be true to you. You kind of have to work intuitively and just learn to play and not be afraid of what's gonna happen. If you're afraid, you're gonna just be too worried about making a mess. So I'm gonna grab a little more white there. And then I'm gonna follow this line here, right up into this little mountain pocket here kind of thing. Now, even if I don't love what I'm doing, there's always another layer we can add next time. We can just keep layering it. Worst case scenario, if we hate what we're doing, we can always paint over it. And that's why I love working on these panels. I can literally take my sander and sand this right down and start over again. So there's no real harm here to anything that you can do here. With canvas, you can do it. I just worry about the adhesion. If you keep painting over a painting, you can have adhesion issues where the paint wants to almost come off a little bit. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of taking the white and I'm just kind of playing with it. I see I'm going like this sort of zigzag action here, and that's just gonna texture it up a little bit. I got too much white on that corner, so I'm just gonna wipe that off. Okay, now I'll stand back, see what we're doing here. Now we have that really nice mountain popping. We have the sky color the way we want it. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the white and we're gonna go right along this edge and we're gonna create a really pretty line there. So let's grab some more of this dry white. Basically, it's just white out of the tube. See how I tap it to kind of fill the bristles? And we're gonna dry brush right along this line here. And we're gonna carefully not get into that black and try not to get too much into the white. So we're gonna just follow that line, kind of pushing this right in at a 90-degree angle here. Now we've got that established. We're gonna take our white brush. We're just gonna kind of pull that up into the sky a little bit there. I've got my brush really nice and flat, pulling that white right up into there. Just carefully dragging that thick white paint up into the blue that we've kind of already established. Now let's stand back and see what we've got so far. I'm enjoying that a lot. That's good. Now, the next thing we want to do, let's work on that dead wood right there. See this dead wood right here? I want a nice gray for that because I'm not sure if I want to go dark or light with it right now. So let's create another gray. I think gray is probably one of my favorite colors. Let's take a look at our palette here. So to create a good gray, we could probably use this gray right here. I think I want to just make another gray. So I'm going to grab some of this right here. To create a good gray, you need to go with some red, which is in this raw sienna here. And then you're going to want some green, which has some blue in it. So I'm going to grab some phthalo green right here. And watch what happens when we take these two colors here and we run them through the white a little bit here. Watch this. Now the phthalo green is going to overpower that because it's more intense color. So I'm going to grab some more of the raw sienna. We're just going to keep mixing until we come up with a color that we like. It's kind of a gray-green so far. Grab some more medium. Keep grabbing the raw sienna until we warm up that. Now we've got that, which is pretty good, but I don't love it. It's too green. So let's grab some of this Terra Rosa here. Kind of maybe grab too much, but you can keep mixing until you get the right gray that you want. See, now we're getting into more of a mottled green color, gray color. So let's grab that and bring it up to the panel and see what it looks like here. So we're just gonna fill in this profile of this stump that we created here with this gray. It's a little dark, which I don't love. So what I'm gonna do for now is I'm just gonna do some of it in there, and then we can go in with the white and just mix it right on the panel like that. Now, is there anything we wanna do with this gray while we have it? I kinda like this gray for right here. So let's grab a little bit of that gray. We're gonna just kind of use this because we've already got it mixed up. And we're just gonna use this on the mountain here. And I'm just kind of doing that zigzagging action to kind of push the paint around and let it kind of pull itself around where it wants to be. And I'm gonna just scrumble that white with it for now along that line. I'm digging that. Let's grab some more of that gray like that, and then we're gonna run this side here. And just like anything three-dimensional, there's going to be sides that pick up the white of the mountain, which would be probably the snow, I guess. And then there's going to be other sides that don't, and you have to decide where those shadows are going to be. Now let's step back and see what we've got so far here. I'm liking it. What I might do next is push the white up into the sky, and let's try to work on that sky a little bit to get it to the point where we're more happy with it, I think. So to do that, we're just gonna grab some more white, just straight white. I fill that brush up with the white, and then we're going to take our brush sideways, and we're just gonna do a little bit more of that pulling up effect here into that blue, because the line was just too noticeable for me. Now look at that, it's more blended. Do you see? So I like that better. And I might even just finish the sky right now if we can. Let's grab some more white. It's got a little bit of blue in it, but that's okay. Here we go. Ready? We're gonna get that brush really flat. It's going to just pull that up even higher up into the sky. Just do a little playing, and I've got that brush really flat to the panel. And then let's go ahead and we're gonna redefine this cloud. Let's redefine this cloud with some white. So just gonna load up some more of the white here. And we're gonna go where we've kind of already got it blended here. Let's just put some white on like that. And then this time we're gonna pull it down towards the other color that we've already created here. And to get that, I might even go this way with it, with the bristles facing towards the line there. And you just have to learn to try different things. I'm digging that for sure. Let's grab some more white. Probably have too much white there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carefully kind of drag that along that line to get that out of my brush. And then we're gonna go back and we're gonna pull that down towards the other area there. Now this area's got a lot of darkness in it because we kind of, remember we blended that phthalo green with the umber? A good thing to do is to try to keep in your mind all the colors you're using in case you need to refer to them later. Let's say you mess up and you run your brush up into that cloud and you're like, oh no, what was that gray that I used? Keep those colors in your mind as far as how you made them in case you need to touch things up or something. Okay, so that's That's looking really nice. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna keep going straight up. Let's grab our black brush here. Remember the black brush we had that we kind of made that cloud line with? And let's just kind of dry brush that out and just scrumble that cloud all the way. We're just gonna kind of gray that cloud out some more, like this. All right, and we're just gonna define it. Right now we're just defining that cloud. So let's take our brush. With the brush bristles facing downward, I'm gonna try to blend into that other line we had made. See how that's gonna kind of blend it a little bit. Now we're gonna do that. Let's feather that black, which is actually burnt umber and phthalo green. Okay, it's like a storm cloud over the mountain. All right, that looks pretty proper now. Let's go down here. We've got this sort of, where's that gray brush we had before? We've got this gray brush. Remember, it was the raw sienna, the phthalo green. We're gonna just kind of take this and we're just gonna wipe it out on the wall here until it's really dry. And we just basically are gonna be using the white that's in that brush. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna wipe it out on our rag here. So it's basically just a scrumbling stick at this point. And we're just gonna take that. We've already got the black on there. We're just gonna sort of move it around just enough to blend it out. Okay, that's pretty excited about that. All right. And now that this brush is pretty much dried out, I'm gonna even dry it out some more on my rag here. Let's just go grab some white and we're gonna play with that stump. So I'm just gonna fill that brush up with some white. Remember, we didn't like that gray, it was too dark. Now we're gonna play with that stump. So we just put a little bit of that gray on. So right on the actual piece, we're gonna blend some white in. Let's grab some more of that white because I think we're gonna put some branches on here right now. Let's go with branches going this way, like so. And branches coming down. This is a stylized sort of dead tree thing that I've been playing with for a while. We're gonna grab some more white. We're gonna go into the end of this is sort of a stylized cutoff of the log here. We're just gonna add white to it. We're gonna bring that along there. Okay, so for today, we may just leave that a little bit. I suppose there's one thing I would like to do, and that's put some gray around this tree stump so it can be more highlighted. Let's see, so that's looking good. Let's do that. We're just gonna kind of do that like that. Okay, now with this brush right here, see this nice gray? We're just gonna add some rose to that. And we're just gonna go around that stump just because, do you see this area right here? I don't like that. I don't like how the branches are coming in and there's this area here that I actually loved before, but now look at it, it's all confusing. I don't like that, that's confusing. So I've got this pinkish color here and I'm just gonna define this stump here, kind of carefully going around, leaving that nice thick black line that we like. What's nice is when you use the phthalo green and the burnt umber for your black. Do you see when that rose color touched that? It's not charcoaly gray. It's a nice, pretty, almost like a teal green. See that? That's why I like to go with a custom black whenever I'm doing these things. And even here, see? It's not just yucky charcoaly gray. And I'm just gonna go around this and I'm gonna define it so that next time, when we paint on this next time, because see, look, we're not going to finish this today, I can tell you right now, because we added a bunch of elements to this piece. So here I'm going to just running this around it a little bit. You see why we're doing that? Because when we finish this, we want people to know what we did here. We don't want them to be confused if this is a dead tree or if it's a alien, or who knows what people might think. So there's that. Now let's step back and see why we would want to do that. Now, do you see why we did that? See how nice? And that dead tree right there, it has a complete edge around it, okay? Because we used the rose color, which was already on there, it doesn't really stand out too much. Okay, so since I've got this rose color, let's keep playing with it. I'm gonna grab some more of it. This is a Terra Rose. It's a little different from an Indian Red. I feel like Indian Red might have a little more black in it. See, we got this rose color here. I just added some more of the red so that we can just kind of play with it. Do you see what I'm doing here? Remember those tree line we had? I'm just gonna kind of move this around a little bit here. Now we're starting to define things a little bit here, okay? And then this is all really wet here, so I'm just gonna be very careful not to get into it too much, but I'm going to wanna blend that down so that that line, it kind of fits in with everything we got here. Now we've got to be careful because look, that reddish color we had is now on one side, but the other side where we've been blending has got this green, so I'm gonna try to wipe that off. And then we're gonna go back in and we're just gonna get, you know what, I think I'm gonna call this good for the day. You see how we've really started to build this painting out. You could have said from the get-go today, this painting is done, I love it, let's just call it good. And that's fine, that's up to you what you want to do. For me, I've found that when you're doing oils, you really need to go in and just keep building until it's finished. It takes at least 2 layers, sometimes 3, even 4, to get a real richness, okay? So let's just scan this right now. We've got this really good cloud mass at the top. And we got that really nice, pretty gray blue from the phthalo blue that we worked with. And then we're gonna, kept that black line of the mountain. But what we did was we added that bright white to create some sunlight areas, okay? We left that red line. And why? Because next time we're gonna richen that red line a little bit, okay? For now though, I wanna leave it because I don't wanna mess it up. Now this tree here, we added these trees, okay? Just because of the composition, it needed some balance, something to bring your eye back up into the sky. So that's why we added that tree. And we added this dead wood down here to create more of a foreground, a feeling that there was a third row. See, almost like sky, mountain, red line, 4th row would be this stump and this tree here. So for now, we're gonna call this good. I will see you next week and we will try to finish this painting in 3 layers. Thank you all very much. I'm gonna sign off. Matt Barter here at the Barter Art House. Thank you for joining this painting class. Hopefully next week we'll have some better equipment. I doubt it, but we'll see. Thanks. And then we'll see this last painting one more time. Thank you.